Alright, quick question. How many people in this room speak English? Pretty good. Okay, great. That means you know how completely full of shit this language is. I mean, come on. If the plural of goose is geese, why isn't the plural of moose meese? It's sick. It's fucking sick. Then again, it's not just English. I did do a video a little while ago talking about how Japanese dubbers were awful, and the German language was so bad, it pissed off Mark Twain. You know what? What have humans ever done for me? I mean, honestly. I want a language based on logic and reason. I want... no, the other one. There we are. Lojban! Alright, so, what is Lojban? Well, Lojban is what we call in linguistics a conlang, which is not the language spoken by the CEO of EA, rather it is short for constructed language. And I hesitate to call them fake languages, although, in comparison to natural languages, conlangs were usually invented by one person for some specific purpose. And in the case of Lojban, it was to test out a popular linguistic hypothesis known as the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. The, Sapir-Whorf hypothesis? The Sapir-Whorf hypothesis? Well, anyway, the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis goes that the language you speak growing up determines the way you think. So, say, the way the French may organize their information is different than how the Germans may organize their information, and the way the Germans may organize their information is different than how the Japanese may organize their information. Obviously, this hypothesis is rather controversial, and some people deem it as just racist, and it certainly wasn't helped that in a particular century, a particular group said a particular language made a particular group of people the smartest. That didn't stop one visionary, though, by the name of James Cook Brown from trying to make his own language to see if the hypothesis held up. It also just so happened that this was the 1950s, and computers were starting to make a scene. A very, very large scene. And one such quirk of computers was that they needed to be told what to do through these special languages known as programming languages. Unlike human languages, programming languages are completely logical, most of the time. So Brown wondered what would happen if they got people to start speaking computer languages. I see no reason at all to be concerned about this. I mean, surely there wasn't a more logical time in history than the 1950s. Well, anyway, he went to work, and sometime later came back out, and he had created, drumroll please, Lojban! And then some people said his language sucked, broke away, made their own language, won a court battle against him, and made Lojban instead. The language was officially finished in the 90s, and now there are plenty of learning resources out there on the internet if you feel like studying the language for yourself instead of doing schoolwork. I'm just going to link all the learning resources down in the description and give only a broad overview of Lojban grammar. Because otherwise, this video is probably going to be over an hour long, and I know you're all busy with certain things, so I'm not going to waste your time. So, here we go. Lojban 101. Lojban uses the standard Latin alphabet, however a couple characters are cut off, some of them are replaced, and all of them are lowercase. In addition, we also now use the period to mark a glottal stop, which is the little pause you make in your voice in words like uh-oh. It's also worth noting that the H has been replaced with an apostrophe, and I don't really get why that couldn't have just been used for the glottal stop, but shut up, it's logical. Well, once you get the alphabet out of the way, what you'll notice is that almost every word in Lojban is technically a verb. For example, if I were to take the Lojban equivalent of mother, which is mamta, I would not be saying a mother, I would be saying to be a mother. If I wanted to turn that verb into a noun, I would have to put a particle lo in front of it. So not mamta, but lo mamta. If I wanted to say a proper noun, like say Lojban, I would have to do two things. One, I would have to change the lo into a la, and then immediately thereafter, I would have to put two glottal stops on either side of the word. So Lojban in Lojban would be la Lojban. Once we get that out of the way, we can move on to what is arguably Lojban's core grammatical concept, and that is that you can string together these verbs to make what are called compound verbs. Let's say I wanted to say that this mother was particularly bad, like total scum. I would take the Lojban word for bad, palshi, and put it in front of mamta, so palshi mamta, to be a bad mother. Now let's try saying that she is a bad, ugly mother. No, I'm not projecting, I swear. If I simply strung all the verbs together and got fegli palshi mamta, I wouldn't be saying that she is bad and ugly, I would be saying that she is bad in a very ugly way, like instant rolled altier. No, I said I was not projecting! In Lojban, each verb is modified by the verb in front of it. So if I wanted to say that a mother was bad and ugly, I would have to essentially put bad mother in the verbal equivalent of parentheses, and then I'll have the word ugly describe it. We use ke for an open parentheses and kehe for a closed parentheses, although this closed parentheses is often omitted. So to say that someone was a bad, ugly mother, we would say fegli ke palshi mamta. So that's Lojban, or at least a brief overview of Lojban. If you would like to look deeper into the language, I have provided plenty of sources for you to study, and you're probably going to lose all your friends in the process, but hey, there are plenty of benefits to having not as many friends. You'll have more time to study Lojban, for instance. God, I'm fucking miserable.